All right, what's up, folks? What's happening? Thank you, Jessica, for the heart me. Appreciate it. I have got. Oh, I appreciate that, Jessica. Thank you very much. All right. So, um, let's see. Gachimo. I hope I got that right. We are talking about Memorial Day and other things pertaining to America. I actually have some pretty interesting uh, information about Memorial Day that I did not ever know until yesterday, and I am 62 years old. But it is pretty typical of the American school system to omit large chunks of history. So here we are. So folks, while we're at it, let's get the heart me's going. Let's tap the screen. That's the most important thing. Tap, 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 tap. Let's do our best to get to 10,000 likes before 10 minutes. I've heard like that's the ideal thing to do. I don't know. Different people have different opinions on how to make a live show successful. One thing I know for sure is I certainly don't know how to do that, but I'm trying to learn. I'm doing my best to learn. I am learning. I am doing my best to make something of this, but time will tell. So I also have a song that I want to play. It's a song that I actually did a spoken word interpretation of today. I just posted that a few hours back. Somewhere, let's see. Yeah, it was about right around 6 p.m. or so, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. So yeah, a few hours ago. And I'm going to play the song that I did the spoken word for because I vaguely remembered that this band had a, a, a tune, a song based on a film. Johnny got his GUN. Sorry, I'm not allowed to speak like an adult here, but um, that film from the 70s, I think, or it was late 60s, early 70s. And I believe Timothy Bottoms was the star, and it's a pretty bleak film, actually. And Metallica made a pretty bleak song in response to that. And why don't I go ahead and play that now? It starts off quiet. It's going to kick in. This is called One. able to do that daily heart main.
It's much too real. In pumps life that I must feel, but can't look forward to reveal. Look to the time when I live, head to the dude that sticks in me, just like a wartime novelty.
Thank you, Steven.
Tied to machines that make me be. Cut this life off from me. Hold my breath as I wish for death. Oh, please, God, wake me.
7+ minute song. That was back in the days of AOR, album oriented rock. Some of you might remember this, and some of you might not have ever experienced this, but there was a time when a rock station would play an entire album all the way through. You hardly see that anymore. Hey, Danny's here. Excellent. Thank you, Danny, for the heart me. Appreciate it. Glad you made it. So today's Memorial Day, and yesterday I found out something rather extraordinary, and I'm going to share it with you right now. I'm 62 years old, and I never knew this. I found this out yesterday because Danny had mentioned somewhere along the line that Memorial Day started off as Decoration Day. And I had never remembered that because it turns out that up until 1971, Memorial Day was called something different. So it was called Decoration Day. So I turned 7 in 71. So I had never remembered Decoration Day. It was always Memorial Day. But here's the history. And thank you, Danny, because it was because you mentioned it that I wound up looking this up. So here's what no one probably has ever told anyone here, because I didn't know this until yesterday. I'm 62 years old. Never heard this before, but Memorial Day was started by black and brown people. And I'll share the history with you. On the first official Decoration Day, May 30th, 1868, Ohio Representative James A. Garfield, a former general and future president, addressed a crowd of 5,000 gathered at Arlington National Cemetery and said the following, quote, "Hither our children's children shall come to pay their tribute of grateful homage. For this are we met today. By the happy suggestion of a great society, assemblies like this are gathering at this hour in every state in the Union. Thousands of soldiers are today turning aside in the march of life to visit the silent encampments of dead comrades who once fought by their side. For many thousand homes whose light was put out when a soldier fell, there go forth today to join these solemn processions, loving kindred and friends, from whose heart the shadow of grief will never be lifted till the light of the eternal world dawns upon them." End quote. So, Decoration Day was started, again, by black and brown people on May 1st, 1865. It happened in Charleston, South Carolina. During the last year of the Civil War, Confederates held captured Union soldiers at a former planters' racetrack. At least 250 prisoners perished, many of disease, and were buried in unmarked graves. So black and brown residents of Charleston decided to give them a proper burial and decorate the graves. Decoration Day became Memorial Day in 1971. Of course, American children were not taught this history. Isn't that something? So let's start bringing up folks. I'm going to invite Danny up. Stephen, if you'd like to come up, of course, feel free to request. And anybody else that wants to come up, feel free to request. Stephen has taken the invitation. That's a wonderful thing. Hey, Danny, how you doing?
Okay. I learned all that from my mother because she was born on Decoration Day,
Mm-hmm.
1925.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I first learned about it. I didn't learn it in school either. My mother taught me that.
Yeah, most there's I would not gonna say most. There's a lot of very important dates, like the Tulsa massacre. I had never heard of that until decades after I was out of school.
Right.
And then of course you find out that that was just a thing that YT people did to BLK people. Every time they did what everyone told them to do, which is pull yourself up by your bootstraps, even though, of course, that's a metaphor. Um, YT people said, nope, nope, we're not going to allow that. Oh no, you're getting too much of the American dream. We can't allow that. So yeah, there's lots of examples of very important historical incidents that just are not part of the curriculum. They're not part of what most Americans learn with regard to American history. Stephen, I muted you for background noise. If you'd like to come off mute and say hello.
Oh, please excuse my background noise.
No worries.
I was putting some asparagus in the oven.
Excellent.
Thank you for pointing out the American history of how Memorial Day started. It's so important that there are so many common bonds that make us a people that come from all sorts of different traditions that we now celebrate now, even in the face of communities who seek to wipe those histories out. It's so important for our common struggle at the moment.
Yeah. Had you ever heard of that before?
Yes, I had. When I was in eighth grade, I was in a special program, a pilot program that was about facing anti-racism, anti-blackness, and anti-Semitic, and was going up against anti-Arab hate in my middle school in Orange County, California, called conflict management. And one of the big things that they started teaching us at 13 years old was how racism infects a lot of parts of the American curriculum. And we did exercises and went to museums and learned about all of the history of these kinds of movements and why they are important and where certain holidays come from, specifically this one.
Yeah, interesting. So my school was just really shitty by comparison because I didn't know any of this stuff. Jamie, welcome and thank you for the heart, man. I appreciate it.
If I could shout out Dr. Melanie Kamai of Chapman University, the woman who plucked me out of obscurity and gave me a sense of purpose in life, and was the first person who told me I had worth.
Wow, that's something. That's something. It's so shameful that teachers get treated like secondhand citizens when we entrust them with so much regarding our children. You would think that if athletes could make as much as they do for, entertaining us, then teachers could make a lot more for what they do, you know. I had a teacher that really is the reason why I love language and why I love communication so much. His name was Mr. Reynolds. I have no idea if he's still alive. Chances are he's not. But he was just a really passionate person, a teacher who cared, who was on a mission to teach children English and why language is so important and how language can be used effectively. And my entire adult life has been about communicating. I got into sales at 20, and my whole entire livelihood rotated around my ability to communicate. And it was Mr. Reynolds that really instilled that in me. And I still think of some of the stuff that he said today. When I mispronounce a word, I'll say something that Mr. Reynolds used to say. He'd say, "You put the accent on the wrong syllable."
Yes, I have that one too.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just things like that. It's something that has stuck with me for close to 50 years. Or, yeah, just about 50 years, because I think I was about 12 when Mr. Reynolds came into my life.
It's amazing how teachers can do that can leave a lasting impact on children.
Yeah. Most of my teachers didn't, and not necessarily through any fault of their own. But Mr. Reynolds just was the teacher. I mean, I remember Mrs. McKenzie in fourth grade. She was a very kind, gentle, caring teacher. And, I was experiencing culture shock as I was moved into an all white teen neighborhood. And so my alert was on high
Oh,
all the
okay.
time. So, when she was nice to me, it made a big difference in helping me to get acclimated to my new environment. It was one of the worst things that ever happened to me, but whatever. Shit happens. And certainly there are far worse things that have happened to children than that. Um, so Danny, being that you were a 22-year veteran in the Army, I'd love for you to share your perspective on Memorial Day because I hate how America takes care of soldiers in the sense that they don't take care of soldiers at all. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, the hardest thing that I that deal with obviously is my brothers that were lost with me in Vietnam. Number one, that really uh, cause I should have been one of them with them.
No, you
I
shouldn't have.
feel like
If you
I
should
feel
have, you
like
would have been. But you're here.
I know. But anyway, uh, I did get out of there on a medevac chopper, and they got me eventually in Tripler at Hawaii, and then from there to Walter Reed in Washington D.C. But I was fortunate in that regard. So it's a tough, And then in '84 when I had cancer, that's when President Reagan dedicated the Vietnam Wall there in Washington D.C. And I got to go to that dedication because they took several of us over in a bus over from Walter Reed to that memorial, and that was another uh, tough thing for me to go through. And I have never been back, and I have no desire to go back to that wall. Uh, and I've seen these traveling walls of it, but I've never attended one of those because the fact is, I saw the real one, and I just can't do it. It's too emotionally disturbing for me to do that. But my biggest, of course, my mom was born on Decoration Day, so that it. But when they started moving the holiday around uh, from the 30th to whatever day they could get a 3-day weekend out of it, I really think they took away from the whole meaning of Memorial Day, of the original thought of Decoration Day. Um, because the fact is, just to move it around for a 3-day holiday just didn't make any sense to me. I thought it was very disrespectful to that day, and uh, I don't really care for people to tell me Happy Memorial Day because it's not a
Yeah,
happy
that's
day.
definitely not the right greeting.
But that's the way they do it. Unfortunately, I've seen it on different platforms
Oh, I've
today
seen
that
lots of
I,
people do it. People are fucking dumb.
you know, but I know when I lost my mom in '85, that was not a happy day, and she passed away in April, I think 25th, if I remember right, of '85, and she would have been 60 if she'd have made it to May 30th, but she was 59 when she passed. So Memorial Day it's a double-edged sword with me. I lost my mom, close to that being her birthday on the 30th of May, and all my brothers and sisters that I lost in Vietnam, and all my friends that I was all the years I was in the service. I served with some great Americans, true heroes, much bigger heroes than I ever thought it could be, and I think about them every day also, and especially today. And matter of fact, my son Daniel's godfather was a Vietnam veteran. He retired sergeant major, and him and I were drill sergeants together at Fort Knox. And he's gone now. He's been gone for about 4 years, 5 years. And I thought about him today. Probably was the first person I thought of today was Bill.
And what are your thoughts on how America treats soldiers?
Well, the biggest thing that bothers me about how America treats soldiers is that, not until after 9/11 and all the years previous to that, and I retired in 91. For 10 years after I retired from the Army, I never once had someone come up and thank me for my service. But all of a sudden, after 9/11, of course, I everybody sees me. I wear my hat that says Army retired on it, U.S. Army retired, and I get thanked for my service. Or when I was wearing my Vietnam veterans hat, I always was getting welcome home and thank you for your service. But it never happened prior to 90 till after 91 to 2001. Never had that 10 years. Never happened. But all of a sudden, 9/11, everybody wanted to thank me. And I thought that was
Hold that
very,
thought for a second. Barsky, for some reason you didn't load up, so if you just want to request again, we'll give it another shot. Go ahead, Danny.
anyway, I thought it was very disingenuous all of a sudden that now they want to thank me for my service. So I thought that was,
Why would that be disingenuous?
well, why didn't people do that before 9/11? Thank the veterans. I didn't get thanked after Vietnam.
Right.
Our people were spit on and called baby killers and all these other vile words
Yeah,
and stuff.
let's remember TikTok language.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. It was they were not respectful to us. They were more respectful to the Vietnam, not the Vietnam vet, but the World War II vets than they were with us.
Right.
You know, and we didn't ask to go there. You know, a lot of us were drafted. Most of us were poor kids, came from poor families that were drafted because we couldn't buy our way out of the draft like Donald Trump did and a few other people. So we actually went over there to do our job, and a lot of them didn't come back. Over 54,000 soldiers perished in Vietnam.
It's actually 58,000.
Well, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
cause I can't remember. But anyway, it was over a great amount of people that had no reason, other than we had to go there because we were told to go there. And that's the whole premise of what I was
Wealthy
saying. Because,
people wanted to be wealthier. That's all it was.
yeah. So why thank me for my service so many years after, but didn't want to thank me back then?
Okay,
I don't
that's an
understand
interesting
it.
way of looking at it. Barsky, you can unmute your mic. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay, man. I'm doing okay. How are you?
Good. We were talking about the origins of Memorial Day, which I did not know until yesterday was something that Black and Brown people had started.
I have started to see that on my algorithm too, and I will say wholeheartedly that's not something that I knew got started until very recently.
I'm 62. I just learned it yesterday.
Well, I mean, never too old to learn something.
Well, whatever. But I mean, what's terrible is that that's a big part of American life is Memorial Day, and the fact that they can't even teach the truth about it in American schools is very disturbing to me.
My recollection of what had happened in my schooling, and this is very foggy because when I was in high school and middle school, I had issues with substances. I hope that that's TikTok friendly, um, and so I don't remember a lot of it. But what I do remember is in my senior year when I decided to join the Marine Corps, and it kind of got put on the back burner. And what I was told was like what everybody learned, what everybody knows is that it was, meant to honor those that had fallen. And at this point in my life, because I think that you mentioned it, there's the spectrum. There's people that celebrate it in the quiet way, and there's people that celebrate it in a different way. And I'm trying to find the nice middle ground, and that's what I've been trying to do for the past, I want to say, 9 years, almost 10 years since I've been out of the Marines.
And what are your thoughts about how America treats soldiers?
Well, I mean, what what Danny was just saying, like for sure, like 1,000%. Like I know that Vietnam veterans were treated incredibly disrespectfully, um, and I feel that service members, across all branches, even now, like in some way, shape, or form, are treated like garbage, which is shit. And I try to grasp it every single day, and like myself, like because I have my own issues that I'm trying to grasp with my own service, um in the sense where it's like if today, perfect example, I went to a the Memorial Day parade in my hometown, and I saw some old friends, and I saw a teacher of mine who I haven't seen in a long time. I mean, like over 30 years, I haven't seen her. And it was overcome with a lot of emotion. And there were folks that were saying, "Thank you for your service." And it was really hard for me to grasp that because I had such a small integral part. But I think that the way that service members, treated now, and I will agree with Danny in this. Now, like there is like if you have any sort of like you have a hat that says, Iraqi war vet, or Marine vet, or Army vet, you're immediately, people come over and say thank you for your service. And back then, obviously, like I don't know what happened back then and during the Vietnam era, but I know for a fact that service members were treated very disrespectfully. I hope that like now that there are people that are immediately recognizing these folks who served in a combat setting. At the very least, we owe them a thank you, and either a hot meal or a beer, or a hug, or something, something, anything, to at least get them through the day. That's what I'm hoping for.
I agree with the spirit of what you're saying, but I disagree with the substance of it.
Okay.
That's to me like, oh, a hug or thank you is so it's a nicety, but it's meaningless in the big picture.
For here.
What I think vets should get is sort of a tiered system of reward based on their service. Like, I think if you serve in the military, even for the minimum amount, which is what, 2 years, I think, something like that. If you join and you serve for the minimum amount, whether you're drafted or whether you enlist, then let's make it so that you don't have to pay taxes anymore. All right, because you put yourself at risk. Let's remember that the moment you enlist, you are putting yourself at risk, right? And then
Yep.
if you serve X amount, you get this. If you serve 20 years, you get a free house along with no taxes. Like, and if you see combat, you get a free house, no matter how long you served. Like, I think that's a society's way of doing more than paying lip service. Because I think saying, post 9/11, saying, thank you for your service is a way to right a wrong. We didn't recognize these people before then, and now we are, and I think that's a good thing. But I totally get why Danny feels the way he does about that. But all
I
of
do
these
too.
things are just niceties, and most of these things are how civilians are treating soldiers, and I'm really talking about how the government treats soldiers. But before we continue, let's say hello to Jones. How you doing, Jones?
I'm doing very well. Um, as a vet, not even close to top down there. Yeah, I reflect on my friends who I've lost along the way. The ones who served, didn't question orders, did what they had to do, and they paid the price.
And how do you think America treats veterans?
Insulting.
And again, I'm talking about the American government. And yes, I agree with you. I think it's shameful. I think shame is a very healthy emotion. It's psychologists say it's one of the more useful emotions that humans have, and I agree with that. And shame is a way of letting you know that you're fucking up. And the fact that America, as a government, has no shame with regard to how they treat soldiers, like letting soldiers be homeless, is disgusting to me. How in the world do you allow that to happen in a civilized society? These people put themselves in harm's way. I don't care if they never heard any kind of arms fire. I don't care if they ever were in danger in an immediate way. You put yourself in harm's way. You deserve something for that. And the fact that America can't even give veterans the basics, it's absolutely inexcusable.
I believe if you served your full time, you should have free medical, basic medical, nothing extravagant for the
No,
rest of your life.
how about the
Minimum.
same medical that fucking senators and Congress people get? How about that? They get the best fucking medical. Why not soldiers?
Yeah,
I mean, to that end, why not everybody, quite literally? But, I mean, soldiers deserve this. You put yourself in, like, there's so many societies on earth that acknowledge the sacrifice that a soldier makes. They put themselves in harm's way for an ideal, and that needs to be recognized and rewarded. And again, the more they served and the more, peril they faced, they should get more shit. At the top level, free house, no taxes, free medical care for the rest of your life. Like if someone like Danny, 22 years, man, come on, you can't take care of a person like that? A guy who got all fucked up physically because of his time in the military, you can't, because it's not that many people that go into the military. It would be about 15 minutes of the fucking budget that could be used to take care of these things. But no, they got $1 billion a day for some bullshit in the Middle East, but they can't take care of soldiers who put themselves in harm's way to protect America and their fellow Americans. That's horseshit, man.
I mean, and I served. I'm sorry, I served in peacetime, but I remember the way our Vietnam vets were treated. And I told my father when I was a kid, I'm joining the army. My father looked at me and go, I have to do what, the sacrifice. And he was like, really? I was like, yeah. These guys didn't want to go there. They were put in really wrong situations. Either way you feel politically, they had no choice. They were drafted.
Right. Barsky, it sounded like you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I know that for a fact, it's actually my sous chef's husband. He's also a Marine, and we've gotten to know each other over the past couple of years, and we've been talking. And he sustained serious injuries in Afghanistan, and what the VFW and what the government basically did was they sent him they basically just sent him prescription medication, and that's it. That's it. Like when I see him not very often, because I mean I consider him a friend. I didn't obviously he wasn't in my platoon or in my company or anything, but we see each other like a couple of times a month, and every once in a while I see him after he has taken his prescriptions, and it's just like a totally other person. He's just a zombie. And I'm sitting there going like, hey dog, what's going on? And it's just like talking to a wall. Like he responds and he sees you and he shakes your hand, but it's just slackjaw. And I'm sitting there like talking to my sous chef afterwards, like, and this was a couple of years ago when I started to talk with them, and I was just like, is he okay? And she told me, he this is the medication that he's on. And that's the thing that gets my blood fucking boiling. The fact that he has to go to the VFW to or speak with anybody, in a gubernatorial sense, to get him something to at least make him function in a way. And it's like he can't even go to the fucking doctor just to like give him like an actual real regimen, and goodness knows like he's a good dude like when he's on the straight and narrow, but when he's just trying to get through the pain, it's like a totally different person. And that's what gets me furious. And this is me as a what I've been referring to myself as a diet veteran, in the fact that I didn't deploy, I was in the reserves.
Doesn't
um
matter. None
I,
of that matters to me.
I
That you put yourself in harm's way, man. All of that shit could have happened. Your family could have lost you. So to me, like
yeah.
it's a happy coincidence that you didn't deploy, but it doesn't diminish my esteem for anyone.
I appreciate you
Because
saying
by the
so.
way, I get really fucking pissed off if I'm with a veteran and like someone tries to diminish their service by like, well, did you see action? It's like, fuck you. The fuck are you talking about? You don't get to ask that question,
Yeah.
But anyway, Jones, did you know? And by the way, what you remind me of in what you said, Barsky, was A Brave New World, where everybody's kind of walking around like a zombie from medication. But Jones, did you know? Because this is something I'll admit before I ask you. I did not know this until yesterday, and I'm 62 years old. Did you know that Memorial Day was started by black and brown people?
I heard rumor of it because of having black friends, and one of my friend's fathers was in World War II, and he said something about it, and I was like, wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So you never heard it in school, obviously. That
No,
wasn't
no,
something that the school
I
system
actually
taught
heard it.
you.
Yeah,
You
no,
just
I
heard
actually heard
you
it
just
from a
heard
vet.
scuttlebutt, right?
Yeah, from a vet.
Yeah, I had never heard it. Never once in my entire life did anyone even suggest that was a thing. And it was, and I learned about it coincidentally. Danny had brought up Decoration Day, and I was like, oh, I didn't know it was called something. I mean, I kind of vaguely had heard that in the past, that it had a different name, but I was 7 years old when it turned to Memorial Day, so I had never remembered it as anything different. But it started off as Decoration Day, which was the last year of the Civil War, May 1st, 1865. A bunch of black and brown soldiers had been perished and put in unmarked graves. So the black and brown people of South Carolina made it a point to decorate the graves, and then officially it became a thing 3 years later. Some shit, right?
Yeah, well, not surprised with our country's history, the way they treat people of color.
Yeah, they don't want to give black and brown folks credit for shit. And meanwhile, there's a lot of shit that we did. And I think all cultures contribute to a country, but, black and brown people have made a huge contribution to this country, not the least of which was building almost everything for you motherfuckers in the beginning, so it's just wild to me that that people don't want to give credit, but that's the story of America. They just, everything is whitewashed. Everything is about how great European unmelanated people are, and it's like your history doesn't really support that. Your history supports that you're fucking marauders and colonizers and just people who lay waste to wherever they go. And it reminds me of Smith talking to Morbius in The Matrix and saying that humans remind him of a virus. because that's really what that culture reminds me of.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No. I just agreed.
Even the U.S. Constitution's framework, is
Yeah,
inspired by the justice system of the Iroquois.
yeah,
The entire Supreme Court is based off of how tribal councils would decide justice with impartiality.
yeah. Yeah, and that same constitution referred to me as 3/5 of a person. Ain't that some shit?
Ain't that some
So,
shit?
yeah, I would like to just bring up one other thing about veterans before we
Yes,
go move
please.
much farther. It breaks my heart when I go downtown or anywhere in the United States and I see a homeless veteran sitting out on the side of the street begging for money,
Oh, it's
begging for a
disgusting. It's
meal.
horrifying.
And to think that we have all these cities and areas around our country that have these malls that are now vacant because the businesses can don't want them anymore or whatever. And those would be great opportunity for our government, if anything, to to make those malls in the communities for veterans and get them off the street and give them a place to live, give them a place to shower, give them a place to get a meal. We could set up programs where they get food delivered right there to the mall, or they have opportunity to cook it themselves in a kitchen that's made inside there. And they don't have to pay anything for it. All the government's got to do is provide the food. I'm sure there's plenty of vets in there that could actually do that and would enjoy to do it to give them something to do. And I can't see why we don't think about those ideas. I posted a post on that on TikTok about what a mall would look like, and if you haven't seen it, I hope you look at it. But that is what I picture should be done with these vacant malls that are just sitting there collecting dust and rotting away.
Well, there are more vacant houses than there are houseless people.
I agree.
I mean, that's all the entire homeless or houseless population can
Right.
be housed tomorrow. And
Yep.
as a matter of fact, there were a couple of states that tried this and it worked brilliantly. They just gave people houses, right?
Right.
And they gave them support and they gave them job training and counseling and all this stuff. Do you know that it cost half as much to give people housing and job training than it did to manage them when they were houseless? Because when they're
That's right.
houseless, the whole system gets overwhelmed. They go to emergency rooms, they engage with police more often. There's all sorts of issues that get solved if you just put them in fucking doors.
Yep.
And it worked. It worked beautifully. And do you think all states would just adopt that? No. For
No.
reasons that nobody fucking knows, except, if you leave them homeless, then you can fill up the prisons. And then you get your slave labor for free.
Yep. And that's what they're doing. And even around here, they're being homeless is now a crime. And they're actually picking them up off the street and they're putting them in jail.
Yep.
And that's to me, and this is, and especially when it's a veteran, I think that is the most heinous thing they could do to a veteran is to cause he's homeless on the street, put him in jail to punish him and
And
to
he's
make him a
homeless
slave for
because
the
he's a
state.
veteran.
Yes, that's right.
Because when he was away, he didn't make enough money to pay his mortgage or his rent.
All right.
He got thrown out. Then he gets back, and it's like, well, you're just on your own. Thank you for serving your country. Go fuck off now.
Yep, that's true. So anyway, that was the point I wanted to bring up
Thank you.
before
That
we
was a
got too
great
far
point.
along.
It was a great point. Yeah, when you enumerate all of the heinous things that this country does to veterans, it's again, I can never bring myself to even consider America a good country because of these things. Great is just far in the distance. We got miles to go before we can even begin to be great. We can't even be a good country right now. You know, when you look at all the different things, and I won't go over them, I've mentioned them many times, but when you look at all the different things that America's just piss poor at, how can you possibly get to the end of that list and go, yeah, what a great country this is? It's horseshit. I
Yeah.
defy anybody to try and change my mind about that because I got too many facts.
Yeah, I agree.
So, Danny, what do you think an ideal way to acknowledge Memorial Day is? And, you know, I mean, Veterans Day seems pretty simple. It's a thank you for your service kind of thing. But Memorial Day is solemn. What is, in your opinion, like a good way to acknowledge the solemnity of the day?
Well, it falls back into first. It follows the responsibility that I always took with Memorial Day was, I didn't consider it a a barbecue day or to do, I was with my family, but it was more of a reflection day because of my family's military history
Mm,
and my mom losing her first husband in World War II. And so to me, it was always a day of reflection, not a day of celebration.
right.
And
Yeah, unfortunately, by association, it's about barbecues and lawn furniture sales.
oh yeah,
You
and go
know,
camping and
yeah,
whatever, or discounts at Lowe's because you're a veteran on Memorial Day, whatever. They always have a memorial sale. It seems like, but to
yeah.
me, that's disrespectful. But that's me. But anyway, I always thought that it should be a solemn day. My mother treated it that way. I grew up that being that way. Even my great grandmother on Memorial Day and that week before they sold poppies. I don't know if anybody remembers poppies that they'd have a basket of poppies and the veterans of foreign wars and the VFW and uh, the Spanish American War widows and veterans would be out there selling poppies. They were charging $1 a piece, and they took that money and they used it for good to help veterans, you know, that had been wounded or family had been, because they lost their loved one, they had helped do something. They used that money for a good cause. Now I don't see them doing that anymore. I don't see the poppies being sold like they used to back in the day. And I used to buy one, and my grandpa would buy one and wear it on his lapel of his suit. Well, of course, a lot of guys don't wear suits anymore, so I can understand that's something that's probably not a popular thing. But there's still other ways of doing it with that same idea. You know, is there anything that you do collect for doing stuff like that? You help veterans with that money, or their families with that money. That's what it should be all about.
And the
It
government
shouldn't
has
be
enough
about
money to do it.
commercializing it.
The government, there's more than enough money for all of this stuff. Like
Right.
you can run down the list of things that are not unique to America, but very typical of just large societies that are complex. Because this is, look, I mean, imagine feeding 350 million people every day. That's obviously a very complicated thing to do, right?
Yeah, I can
It
tell you that.
involves ships with huge containers on them, and then trucks, and then fucking supermarkets, and this and that, and trains, and all this other shit. It's a very complex thing. So I'm not taking it lightly, but whatever it is that you mention, whether it's fixing the infrastructure, whether it's healthcare, whether it's making sure that schools don't fall down around children's heads, whether it's making sure that the elderly have hot meals and that children have lunch in school, and all like go down the line, healthcare, everything. There is more than enough money for all of this stuff. More than
Hmm.
enough. A couple of, like, one billionaire could solve world hunger by himself.
Yep. I
These,
agree.
especially these super billionaires, the ones that have 100 billion, 200 billion, because it would only take 40 billion a year for 5 years to solve the food problem worldwide.
Yep.
Worldwide. That's interest. That's less than the interest probably. No, that's about the interest that Elon Musk's money makes every year.
Yep. Or Jeff Bezos
Yeah.
or
So you
what's his
gather a
name from
few of them. I
Microsoft.
mean, America has over 800 billionaires. So gather a
Right.
few billionaires together and say, hey, put together a fund where we can address all of these things that our country needs, and that shit would be solved in seconds.
Yep.
But no,
Absolutely.
we got a president that wants to sue his own country so that he can pay himself.
Yeah. Yep. Pretty much. That's what he did. And that slush fund that he did for the Jan 6 people.
He didn't do it for the Jan 6 people.
He did for himself too. But I'm just saying.
Not two. Nobody's going to get that money except him.
Oh yeah.
The way they set that
true.
up, the way they set that up was not only is it dump and he controls a quorum of 5 people and it only takes 2 people in the quorum to designate, this, that, and the other thing, and they have to approve everything. It's all private. It cannot be audited. It cannot be investigated by the government. Why do you think that is? You think that's because he's planning to whack out the money to the J6ers? Fuck no.
No.
That money's for him and his buddies.
Yep. Who he wants to go to.
I mean, it's getting blocked probably, but still, that's what his goal was. That's what I have been saying this for so long now, and finally people are catching on. This administration's goal is to raid the Treasury. That's what they do.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And he's lost all the guardrails are gone. They're not up. They're so, if there is any left, they're so flimsy that they'd be investigating him for decades after this administration for all the corrupt things
I hope his children wind up losing everything.
Well,
I'd love to see America claw back all that fucking money, because that's what they do in other countries. In other countries, when they catch the oligarchs and the government stealing, they fuck those people up. They put them in jail and they take all their shit, and that's the right way to handle it.
That's true.
I don't believe in capital punishment, so I never include that. But put them in jail, take all their money, and if they wind up getting out of jail, then good luck to you.
I just don't know if the government that we have right now has the cojones to do anything like that.
That's the big question mark. Yep. The younger people are starting to make those sounds, but I have to see it actually happen before I believe it.
Yep. Action speaks louder than words.
Yeah, because that's one of the problems that America's always had, is that it's always like, oh yeah, because we might want to commit crimes in the future, we don't want to look backwards and prosecute the crimes that we just saw. And that's just, and even if that's not the motivation, it's just a terrible policy. It literally rewards the wrong behavior. George Bush, in my opinion, is a war criminal. Okay? Mm-hmm. In my opinion, he is a war criminal. And him and Cheney and Rumsfeld and a long list of other motherfuckers needed to be put in jail and all of their money taken from them for the shit that they did to the world.
I agree.
Over 1 million innocent people in the Middle East perished because of these fucking cocksuckers.
Yep.
For no reason except Halliburton wanted to make money.
Yep. Yeah, I felt the same way about Nixon.
Oh, Nixon was a piece of shit. So was Reagan.
But when Ford gave him amnesty afterwards and said, he said the country needs to heal. Well,
Yeah. Yeah, he
yeah,
was right, but not that way.
yeah, that's
But
right.
he needed to they needed to heal by putting that crook in fucking jail. And
Yep.
what's wild to me is that when you compare Nixon to Dump, Nixon like stole an apple from an apple cart compared to what Dump has done.
Oh, yeah. But basically, what that told me, because I was in the army then, that my commander in chief got away with all that bullshit that he did, and then the next commander in chief okayed it. That means that hell, my I thought that the Uniform Code of Military Justice didn't mean shit anymore because hell, if he can get away with that, then shit, maybe I should too do the same shit and get away with it. You
Exactly.
know?
Before we continue, let's say hello to Jay. How you doing?
How you doing?
Good. What's on your mind?
Oh yeah, every time I hear people talk about Trump, and especially in the comparison to Nixon, I always have a joke of like Nixon's in the afterlife. Like Trump did what? Because like he did, like I mean, 50 times worse.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Like,
at the end of the day, and look, Nixon deserves all the ignominy he gets, right? However, it was breaking and entering and then covering up the crime of breaking and entering. That's all they did.
oh
That's
yeah,
what they
Nixon
did,
kind of just got
literally.
caught with his hand in the cookie jar. That's how I
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
describe what
But
Nixon.
now,
Yeah,
when you look at the billions of dollars that Dump has stolen from America and the millions of people that are perishing because of his unwillingness to govern, it's night and day different.
and
So I
I'm
agree with
assuming
you
all you
100%.
guys up here are former military, right?
I am not.
Oh, okay. Well, I just assume some people might be up here for. His son has the highest DoD contract in history.
Yeah,
That makes no sense.
yeah. Because his son is dumb as fuck.
$628 million taxpayer dollars
Yeah,
will be paid out to him in his quote unquote company that he started in 2021.
yeah. And that's not the first of the money that was paid to him. He got another contract. No, it wasn't a contract. It was that fucking bullshit crypto deal that set up. That paid him over 300 million.
Yeah, and then also money was funneled into their quote unquote winery that they have in Charlottesville.
Yeah. No, it's so blatant. It's so unbelievably blatant. And I remember when the story of Lincoln having to give back a horn that was given him by I think the Sultan of Brunei or something like that, or the King of Siam, one of those two. And Lincoln went to Congress appropriately and said, "Is it okay for me to accept this gift?" And they said, "Fuck no." You're running America, motherfucker. You don't take gifts from foreign dignitaries. And he gave it back because that's the way it needs to be. Jimmy Carter
Because they,
gave up
I
his
would say they forced
he gave up his
Jimmy Carter to go
peanut
up his peanut
farm.
farm. Yep.
Yeah.
It. I don't know. It's just some of the things like this man literally sat here and said, "Yes, we got money from Venezuela." Oh, where is said money? I put it in a private account that I only have access to.
Right.
What?
Right.
You
Yeah.
what? And nobody batted eyelash. Like,
Their big deal with Iran right now is paying Iran $25 billion to reopen the strait. That's Mr. Negotiation. Because it's kind of funny that Barack Obama negotiated a deal with Iran that worked beautifully, right? And nobody, not one soldier, was harmed doing that, and it didn't even cost America money because the 1.6 or 7 billion that Barack released to Iran was already their money.
yeah, it was
Yep.
frozen money.
Right. So it was not coming out of the taxpayers' pockets, but this guy is just like, yeah, let's just spend $1 billion a day, and then on top of that, we're gonna gift them another $25 billion because I'm a shitty negotiator. Wild. Fucking
Thing
wild.
is, when has he successfully ever negotiated anything? Ever?
Pretty much never. His big deal where he negotiated for the release of 5,000 soldiers from the Middle East, right? And they all went back and became the people that are fighting us now.
He
Great work, Donnie. Fuck,
like
man. You can't make this
the
shit up.
man literally tore down a quarter of the White House, and then after the people tore it down or at the work site, it was like, wait a minute, he still hasn't cut us a check. I'm not coming to work.
Yeah,
Like,
now they're not even allowing him to continue construction on it. You know, like, I mean, and to deface the White House like that again, I'm not really into symbolism. I'm not nostalgic, and I'm not into material possessions. So like, I don't give a shit. But that building means something to America, right? I wish they would go back to calling it the People's House or something like that. But you know, this is a national monument. And for him to just deface it like that and put all this gaudy gold and bullshit fucking artwork in it, oh, it's just horrible. And he's only doing it for his own protection. He's doing the same thing that Schmittler did. It's literally the same thing. Ah, God, this shit annoys me. It's hard to
Well,
believe that this shit is real. I mean, it really is. Like Danny, don't you wake up every day feeling like you're in some version of the Twilight Zone?
I told you, well, a year ago when you were here to visit me, that I feel like we are living in a matrix.
Yeah,
And I still think that,
yeah.
you know, and it's just, I never thought in my almost 76 years of life that I'd ever see this be I'm going to give a military term, a clusterfuck is what this is, you know. It made snafu, which is situation normal, all fucked up, a whole new thing, you
Yeah,
know.
very
And
true.
it just, we're on the verge of going into FUBAR. It's going to be so fucked up you can't be able to recognize it.
I think we're there. I honestly do. I look. There's this part of me that wants to indulge hope, just because I don't want to be depressed every day.
Right.
So I'm holding out hope that somehow this can be turned around, because it took Germany decades to turn things around.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I don't have that long to wait. I'd love to see this. I'd love to see the next administration, if we actually have elections and Democrats get in and have fucking balls. I'd love to just see them overhaul this shit. I'd love to see them plug every hole in that Constitution so that some charlatan piece of shit, glorified carnival barker with no governmental experience or no military experience could not get in, and especially with a fucking criminal record, could not get into the fucking White House again. Because that is one of the blackest stains on America's history, is that this piece of shit became president, even the first time, but it was even worse the second time.
oh
Well,
yeah, the
yeah,
next president should put an EO to just effectively delete 2025 to 2029 history. Like just delete those 4 years out of our history. We
Could
weren't
be.
we weren't a stable country then.
Yeah. So let's start wrapping things up. Let's go from Jay. I know you just got here, but do you have any final thoughts for the evening before we shut this down?
Uh, the gentleman down at the bottom mentioned a clusterfuck, and then he mentioned military. You know who I instantly thought of? Why does Pete Hegseth still have a job?
Because Dump likes people that make him look good, and the more incompetent they are, the better Dump looks to himself. I mean, we don't think so, but he thinks so. Because
But yeah, that's all I
also,
have to say.
Dump doesn't like to admit a mistake. So if he has to fire someone, that is tacitly admitting a mistake. Oh boy. Okay. So, Jay, thank you so much for coming up. I'm here Monday through Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. You're welcome back anytime. All right. Let's take a look at what this donut just said. Blue Devil 90 says, Democrats have no balls. They add the party of fraud. Yeah, right. I'm going to block you just because that's that's just too moronic to even think about. So, Jones, any final thoughts for the evening?
Yeah, Trump made Caligula look like a decent human being. I never thought that would be possible.
I have no problem with Caligula. He just liked to bang.
All right, have a good night.
You too,
And
brother.
Danny, have a good one, bro. And thanks for your service again, bro.
You too,
Same,
my
same
friend,
to you,
and
Jones.
thank you for dropping by today.
Yeah, I thought I'd stay with some friends on a day like today.
You bet.
Good move. Good
Absolutely,
move.
brother.
All right. Barsky, any final thoughts for the evening?
First of all, I want to thank you, Yoda, for it's always this time of year. I kind of question my own military service and my status. And it's good people like you and Danny who kind of help me realize that yes, I stood on the I stood on the yellow footprints. I went into boot camp. I did it on my own volition, knowing that I could have put myself in harm's way. I'm not, goodness knows, like I'm not, 1,000% happy, like with life and being an adult. But the way that I kind of handle Memorial Day now, I go out and I enjoy the day, and I just take the time now, which is about 10 o'clock, just to quietly reflect on my own, with friends that I've known who have since passed on, um, and just have a quiet day of remembrance. I had a tough conversation with my son today, actually, yesterday or the day before when I came up on Diner Night. I had a tough conversation with my son about, what Memorial Day is actually supposed to be. But it was more tough on me, and he handled it like a little champ. So, tomorrow's a new day. I appreciate you bringing me up. I appreciate your words. Um, and, as far as Memorial Day is concerned, I hope both of you gentlemen had a great day. Danny, from the bottom of my heart, and the top of my heart, thank you so much for your service. And I'm glad to share a space with you.
Thank you, Barsky. I greatly appreciate that, and I do appreciate your service. And by the way, my friend, I always have a box of crayons and a coloring book here for you, so you're good to go.
As long as you have some green ones, Danny, then we're good.
I do. I got you. I got you covered, my man.
I sincerely love how people in the military fuck with each other. It's the funniest fucking thing to me.
Every fucking day,
Oh
dude.
man, that's so great. Thanks,
Love you,
Barsky. I
brother.
appreciate it, brother. We'll see you soon.
All right, take care of you guys.
All right. Danny, before you share your thoughts for the day, you had mentioned something earlier about a day of reflection, and it's interesting that on 9/11, on my calendar, that's how I've marked it. I used to make sure that I didn't work on that day, and on the calendar it says day of reflection because, that was a wild fucking day for me. I was in the city, and I just like to think about it. I can't believe that this year's 25 fucking years. It's crazy. But I talk about it every year when it comes up because I just think it's important to. It's certainly important for me. I don't know if everybody needs to, but I just feel compelled to talk about it. So I'm glad you reminded me of that. But what are your final thoughts for the evening, my friend?
I can't agree more. And if I'd have been in the city, I would have definitely marked it as a day of reflection on the calendar because you didn't expect that to happen in your own city where you're at. Obviously, and I certainly was shocked. And I was living in Colorado then, and I actually was on my way to go to work when it started coming across my TV at home, and then I stayed home another additional 2 or 3 hours just to watch some coverage, and then I went into the office and I was listening to on the radio also uh, my car. So anyway, yeah, that was I don't blame you. To me, that's a big thing for you, and I'm glad that you do that. I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you, that's going to be an important day for you for the rest of your life. And
Yeah, it is. Like
you know,
when I first started the podcast, it just so happened that we launched officially in 2021, and that was the 20th anniversary of it. And
Yeah.
my buddy and I
We're getting
talked about it. So, and I've been, every year that I've been podcasting, I always make sure that I mark 9/11 because, and again, I do it for my own mental health. It's just a way of constantly reminding myself of a lot of different things, not the least of which is to be grateful every day because you never know when your ticket gets punched, you know.
I know.
But before we say goodnight completely, Jeannie has joined us. Jeannie, why don't you unmute and say hello?
Hello, my loves.
What's happening?
Not too much, but I wanted to say hi, Grandpa Danny. How are you
Hi,
doing tonight?
Jeannie. I'm doing the best I can with what I got to work with.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing, but also Jesus Christ.
I know.
Hey, Jeannie, I have a
Well, you get
question
my
for you.
age.
Go
Yeah,
ahead, Danny. Go ahead.
go ahead. I said, when you get my age, you're just glad that you're awake the next day. So he's just
That's what I
waking up.
heard. That's what I heard, and that's what I feel at my age. I'm only in my 40s, but I'm like, God damn it! When I wake up, I'm like, really? Damn it!
I had something very fortunate happen when I was 27 years old.
Okay.
I learned of this book called Dark Diary of a Yoga. No, actually, Diary of a Yogi by a gentleman named Paramahansa Yogananda. And
Mm,
since 1991, I have had a mantra that I have employed every morning and every night. And without
what
getting
is
into
it?
specifics, the mantra is around gratitude. And in the morning, the first thing I say is, thank you for another day. Because here's the thing, flash forward to right now, on average, roughly 170,000 people worldwide come to the end of their life every day. So when you wake up, I think for me, it's important to acknowledge that I am here another day because I cannot take that for granted.
Listen, baby, you're absolutely correct. Can I just say something as well? Is that cool?
Of course.
All right. Have you guys heard of the have you heard of the book? What is it? God damn it. Now I can't think of it. It's like give me a sec. I got to search it.
While you're thinking
Oh,
of
jeez.
that, I know you're a
Yeah,
Canadian,
give me a
but
sec. I'll be
did
right
did
back.
you? Oh, okay. I'm going to ask you a question when you come back, but yeah, Pinky says every day topside is a winner. I agree 100%. Like, and it really, I know for myself, focusing on gratitude rewired my brain because when I was in my 20s, I had a lot of darkness in my mind. It's the reason I started personal development at 23 because my life was very dark. And it was because I had an undisciplined mind and the focus of my energy was in places that didn't help me. It mostly hurt me. And I wound up being a hurtful person to other people, even though I didn't intend to. I never consciously hurt someone. Doesn't matter. I still hurt people. And so I started personal development. And when I landed 4 years later on this mantra, I know it rewired my brain. Just every day, being grateful for waking up and every night being grateful for another day, it helps so much. Just that little practice takes a total of about a minute. And even though I've been doing it for over 30 years, I I still have a daily reminder. Literally every day I have a gratitude list pop up, and I don't normally read it anymore, but once in a while I just stop. I look at the things that I wrote down. Sometimes I change some things. I'm grateful for my son. I'm grateful for my friends, et cetera, et cetera. And it's such a great way to start my day, and I recommend it for everybody. So did you find it, Jeannie?
I didn't, but I'm trying to still figure it out. It's like the warrior's way of something. Oh, peaceful warrior's way of something. Give me a sec.
Is it a book about Zen and that kind of stuff?
I kind of went through a transition of that myself because, after my mother passed and my dad unalived himself 2 years later,
I
I
figured
was
it
in a
out.
very
Oh,
dark
Sorry.
hold on, Jeannie.
place. I was in a very dark place.
Hmm.
And even my family recognized I had changed a lot, you know. And I look back on those days now and I go, I was not a very nice person. Maybe that's why my ex and I broke up at the very end there, you know, and stuff. That might have been about but again, it was out of my control to a certain extent because I had never sustained such grief in my life. Then that when those two things happened. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's very relevant because, you know, something occurred to me when my mother passed in 2024. And everybody knows that has followed me that I had an absolutely shitty relationship with her, and I thought she was a terrible mother. But you kind of realize like, oh fuck, I'm an orphan. Like that's it. I'm next in line. And that's a weird
Mhm.
thing to think about because that's the circle of life, right? And it's one of those things where if you don't get a hold of it, it can really fuck you up. But Jeannie, what do you got?
Hmm. So it's The Way of the Peaceful Warrior.
Hmm.
Have you guys heard of this book?
Yes.
So, and I know like it. I actually read this, let's say about 15 years ago, but it still has a huge. It still is huge to me because like there was a point where it was like the guy was he had I think he smoked a the guy like the main guy, not the main guy but the
Author?
guru. The guru guy was
Gotcha.
he 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 was smoking a what do you call it, not a cigarette. Oh, he was actually smoking a cigarette, and then the guy was like,
Some
wait a minute,
substance.
what the fuck are you
Okay.
doing? He's like, what are you doing? It's like, well, if you're doing it with intention, and if you're doing it and you know you're doing it, then that's a little bit different. Anyways, no, this book actually changed my life, honestly.
What was the main thing that you got from it?
Main thing I got from it was that like no matter what you think that life is, it absolutely is not. So basically so the book is kind of it takes a guy who's like a gymnast and is going to apparently be like a what do you call it? Olympic gymnast, and he
Hmm.
gets fucked up, but he ends up actually realizing that wait a minute, my life is not only that, and I have to find out what my life actually means. And so that's kind of the thing where yes, Olympian stuff is very cool, but that's not what all of us are meant to do. And sometimes our lives are outside of what is expected. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So we sometimes have to understand that maybe our lives and what we are expected to do and what people expect of us is a lot different than what we're going to eventually be.
I learned something very interesting when I was 45 years old. Um,
Hmm.
I had suggested an Anthony Robbins seminar for a woman who at the time was a friend of mine, and she went, and she came back and talked about an aspect of the seminar that he did not do when I had seen him
Nobody heard
8
anything.
years previous. And one of the things that she said was he asked the crowd, whose love did you crave more, your mother or your father? Now, in my case, it was a one-horse race because my father was out of the picture when I was 12 because he passed away, and I had no real relationship with him before that. I knew him, I saw him once in a while, everything was cool, but we didn't really have a thing where like he was teaching me and I was hanging out with him and doing meaningful things or whatever. So it was a one-horse race. It was my mother who I always wanted to please. And contemplating that question, what I realized is I did not give a shit about money. And the only reason that I was constantly pursuing money since I was a young man, for more than 20 years, I was running after money so hard, and it was only to please my mother. And once I realized that, I was like, oh, I can make new choices now because I don't have to keep doing that shit. But it was a very important revelation for me. And so, yeah, I agree. A lot of us are the result of the programming that we all get, right? We all get the same program. Go to school, get a job, find a mate, spawn children, go to college, buy a house, all this shit, right? And all of this stuff, all this equation that people put together is supposed to culminate in happiness. And yet most people are not happy, right?
Exactly.
Like America is a very depressed country.
Wait, Yoddah, can I do that as well? Because, like, it makes me kind of funny. I mean, not funny, sorry. Can I do that as well?
Can you do what as well?
Be like, hey, this is what you should do to be happy as a child.
I don't know what you're asking me.
There's only 5 people in here. Can I just shut up? Let me do it, okay?
Sure.
I'm going to do it. Okay. So, hi. Sorry, that was a burp. So, if you come to Canada, no, oh my God, now I don't even know what I'm trying to say. What I'm doing, I'm so sorry, Yoddah. I was really sure what I wanted to say, and now I'm not sure what I wanted to say.
Strong start, terrible finish. I got it. It happens sometimes.
Right? Exactly. Oh my God.
All right. So with that, we were actually getting ready to wind down. Danny was on his final thoughts for the evening. So,
okay with that.
But I saw you, and of course, I always want to chat with you when you're here. So I'm glad that we got a chance to talk to you. Any other thoughts that? I wanted to ask you a question. Even though you're Canadian, I'm curious. Have you ever heard that Memorial Day was started by Black and brown people?
Yep.
I've heard that, but
I never heard that until yesterday. I'm 62 years old, and I never heard that until yesterday.
Girl,
and I dug into it and found the whole history of it.
Girl, you need to look into it.
I did. I actually posted about it earlier.
Oh, okay. Now I'm gonna look into your post. Damn, yeah. I didn't see that.
Yeah. And I'm gonna I read it earlier here, but I'm gonna make an actual post reading the entire history. But yeah,
I would love that.
I sourced it through several different history websites, and yeah, 1865, the last year of the Civil War, it started, and it was black people. It was called Decoration Day originally.
Decoration Day?
Yeah, and then in 1971 it turned to Memorial Day, but it was black folks who started it.
Oh my God. And these white people think they're all right. You need to do that shit. Can you send it to me when you figured it out?
I certainly will. Certainly will. All right. Thanks for coming by. We always appreciate it.
I love you, Yoddah, and love you, Grandpa.
Danny has to unmute.
Okay, well, I still love him.
Love you too, Jeannie. Hope you have a great rest of your
Grandpa Danny. I love you, and I can't wait to actually meet you in real life. But listen, I won't be coming down to the U.S. So if you ever come up to Canada, please let me know when that happens, because like I can't come back. I can't come down to the U.S.
That
They're
makes
gonna
sense.
fucking
Well,
find
I
me.
can tell you that I have met Danny in real life, and it was spectacular.
And that's the thing. Like, Danny, please come up to Canada. You guys are able to. I don't think I'm able to come down to the US because they will look at my phone and they'll be like, nope, you have things about killing the president. No, you cannot do that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, yeah, you guys come visit me. I cannot come visit you. Love you.
All right.
Me
Have a good
too.
night. Love you too. Take care.
Good
All
night.
right, Danny. So, you're my hero, Danny, and the sacrifice that you gave to America is a big reason why. But another big reason why is just because you are so dignified and such a good spirit and so loving and caring to everybody. And it's something that I aspire to. You have motivated me to become a better human being, and I want to make sure that you know that.
Wow, I appreciate that. I don't know if I can hold that responsibility, but I've
Listen, you've already qualified for it, brother. You don't have to do any damn thing more than you've already done.
well, I appreciate it, Yoda. You know how I feel about you, and I think the world of you, and that's why I call you my brother, and I don't use that word lightly.
Yeah, me
Uh,
neither. Me
so
neither.
and that's why I asked you to do what I wanted you to do at my final celebration. So
I got you,
anyway,
man. Believe me, I will handle that with the respect and dignity that it deserves. But luckily, you won't be around to fucking answer me back if I say some shit you don't like.
I'm gonna leave you a recording. So if you screw it up, uh, Carol will play it for you. If you don't,
Oh my
then she
god,
won't
that would
play
be
it for you.
fucking hilarious. All right, brother. Well, just for the folks that are still here, Danny goes live Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's either music or trivia, or sometimes both. But it's always good, especially Friday night trivia. It's the best. And it looks like are you going Sunday night trivia too from now on?
Seems to be that's what I'm gonna do because I
Okay.
wasn't getting much. Unfortunately, the heathens out here that they call themselves Christian didn't want to come by my gospel hour for some reason. So, but yes, but on Wednesday, this Wednesday, I'm starting a new game starting Wednesday called What's My Line? It's the spinoff of the old TV show. So I'd like to see as many people there to come and try it. But it's going to be my trial run, and I think it's going to be fun. And if you're not familiar with What's My Line, get on YouTube and watch a few of the old episodes with John Daly. I think it's a fun show. It's going to be a lot of, and of course I got to play the moderator and the guest, but I'm gonna have the what they do and where they're from and their name, and then I'll answer the questions to see if you can figure out what they do.
Excellent. All right, folks. So you know what to do. So, as always, Danny, thank you so much for coming up here. My live is always better when you're part of it, and I'm sure we'll chat soon.
I've always appreciated you allowing me to be your co-host and your moderator, and thank you for helping me out with mine too.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
All
All
right,
right,
love
brother. I
you,
love you.
brother.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right, folks. Thanks for hanging in there for an hour and 38 minutes. I'm here Monday through Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. I cover the day's events, politics, personal development, relationships, and casual conversation on Saturday night. Music appreciation. I think Fridays I'm going to start doing music appreciation. I for the second time ever last Friday, I played an entire album, and it went over really well. I enjoyed it, and so did the people listening. So I think I'm going to follow that format. The show has slowly been changing because I want it to change because I don't want to spend all of my time talking about the horror that is America these days. So I appreciate that people have hung in there with me, and let's just keep it going until we see each other again. Peace, love, and granola. Talk to you soon.